On the Indian side, we have Mahesh Jethmalani and Maruf Raza from Mumbai and Delhi respectively. And from Islamabad, General Rashid Qureshi and Ahmad Raza Kasuri of the Pakistan Supreme Court. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Now, this man, Hamid Gul, who is the former ISI chief, General Qureshi, has been Abdul Karim Tunda's handler on behalf of the ISI. Now, how desperate your country must be that former ISI chiefs are personally handling one of the most wanted terrorists in our country.
I'm surprised, frankly, and if you can give me time to explain these things to you, how ridiculous your allegations sound when you start talking about an ex-ISI chief.
Yes.
Who is handling people?
Yes.
Isn't it ridiculous?
No, it's not.
Do you have an ex-RAW chief handling terrorists from India and sending them into Balochistan? No.
Right.
I'm sure the current RAW must be doing that.
Tell me.
How can an ex-RAW chief?
No. Because it has
ex-RAW chief.
Because your country. Because your don't compare the ISI and the RAW. The ISI is a rogue organization.
Oh, okay.
Because the ISI.
Oh, fantastic. We think RAW is a rogue organization.
No, let me tell you. Let me 1 second.
And frankly.
No, I'm not saying this. 1 second.
And frankly.
I think Benazir Bhutto in 2007. 1 minute. Now let's go down to facts, sir. Because today I will only put facts before you. You see, I'll tell you why ISI is a rogue organization. Because in 2007, Benazir Bhutto wrote a letter to Musharraf, right? And she says there are 3 people who are a threat to my security. One of the people is the same man, Hamid Gul, by the way. You remember that? After the after the Mumbai terror attacks, after the Mumbai terror attacks of 2008, the American government wrote to the United Nations, place a list of international terrorists, separately. Hamid Gul was on that list, by the way. And in case you don't know, now I'll give you the third proof, Rashid Qureshi, why your ISI is a rogue organization.
No.
Because in 2006, you're not going to like it as a former Pakistan army man, but I'm going to say it anyway. Because in 2006, Parvez Musharraf, last point, 10 more seconds, Parvez Musharraf, under whom you served as military spokesperson, said some ex-ISI members are helping the Taliban. He specifically mentioned those who were at the forefront of the agency from 79 to 89, the period when ISI was aiding the Mujahideen to fight Soviet forces in Afghanistan. That is the Hamid Gul period. So that answers. Are you satisfied now why I said the ISI is a rogue organization, General Qureshi?
No, I think what you're doing is making up your mind and conveying to people in India that whatever you think is the correct thing. Now let me tell you, Hamid Gul was the ISI chief from 87 to 89. And you say that this, whatever Tunda you're calling him, was introduced to Hamid Gul in 1995.
Yes.
Hamid Gul wasn't even in the army then.
Yeah, that's exactly the point.
That's
exactly the point. He's active after his retirement.
What's the point?
Well, that's the point. I'll get Maruf in. That's the point. That he's active after his retirement. Didn't you read WikiLeaks? Did you not read WikiLeaks? What did the WikiLeaks say? WikiLeaks said that in mid-2006, Hamid Gul met with senior members of the Taliban leadership in Newshour, Pakistan, during which he had dispatched 3 insurgents to Kabul to carry out attacks with IEDs during the celebration of Eid. You didn't read WikiLeaks? I read WikiLeaks.
What you need to do is sit back coolly and think whether an ex-army officer and an ex-ISI chief,
so the ISI
after he is retired and has been retired for 8 years, can be handling people?
Well, then
it's such a ridiculous thought.
Well, then Parvez Musharraf was ridiculous, wasn't he? That means Parvez Musharraf was ridiculous because Parvez Musharraf said that. Why didn't you say Parvez Musharraf what he says is ridiculous? Parvez Musharraf said.
General Qureshi.
No.
One Maruf is responding.
What did he say?
Parvez Musharraf said, you refuse to listen to me, Maruf is responding. Parvez Musharraf said that all ex-ISI members are helping the Taliban. And these remarks were considered to include Gul. And Gul himself felt the need to respond to Musharraf's statement and deny he was helping the Taliban. Maruf, why are you surprised, sir? Today you are
put words into people's mouths.
Let's get Maruf.
And then you say that they said this.
Maruf, no, this is
never said this.
Sir, Hamid Gul responded to Musharraf. You check your facts. Hamid Gul responded to Musharraf. Maruf is responding.
General Qureshi, couple of points.
Yes,
firstly, you as an ex-army officer are also, and you cannot deny it, are also in touch with people in positions of power right now who may have been your colleagues or your juniors or people who you would have interacted with at some stage in service. To say that the day General Hamid Gul retired, and he says he retired in 92, and to say the day he retired he hung his uniform and absolutely wore white kurta pajama and became a saint in the making, is asking for us to believe too much. Hamid Gul, in an earlier interview with me today itself, has said that yes, he continued to have links with senior officers in the military. He continued to interact. He has also claimed that even now he has very, very close relations with Hafiz Saeed, who, if you don't want to believe the Indian version, at least you may believe your former mentor's version, and that is the United States. United States has put a price of $10 million on Hafiz Saeed's head. So if General Gul is having interaction with somebody who is an established terrorist, you can't expect us to believe that he doesn't interact with others. Now the pointed issue is that we also know, and I'm not saying it, a whole lot of international experts, people who've researched, and even the Rand Corporation report in the aftermath of 26/11 has said very clearly that the ISI works through several established proxies to achieve Pakistan's agenda. Now you may try and say that Pakistan's agenda is to provide moral support to the Kashmiri cause, but moral support apart, your interpretation of moral support can very easily be understood with factual data of what support you are providing, which includes military support.
And this question goes to Mr. Kasuri next before I go to Mr. Jetwalani.
What you need to come clean on is Pakistan's ongoing relationship with embarrassments like Hafiz Saeed, with Tunda and various others. The issue is that if you really want good relations with India, when are you going to abandon these strategic assets? So General Kayani has been on record to refer to
I think after
now Tunda may be a pawn in the game, but he is letting out all the information.
No, but the biggest information which has come out, Mr. Kasuri, Mr. Mehmet Raza. Mr. Kasuri, I want you to respond to that. Then I'll get Mr. Jetwalani in. You're a lawyer in Islamabad. Mr. Jetwalani is a very respected lawyer in Mumbai. The question to you is that why are you getting so sensitive about Hamid Gul? I mean, Hamid Gul is a terror supporter, is a known fact. He has said to our channel in July, he says Osama is a friend of Pakistan. Pakistan likes Osama. He says the Pakistani nation can rejoice at the fact that for 9 years he was with us and we protected him. Our guests must be protected and honored. This is Hamid Gul on record. Mr. Kasuri, what more do you want? Why don't you just admit it today?
I don't know where.
These are his words to us.
You need... Would you stop and listen to other people? I think you love your voice.
No, why don't you answer the question I put to you?
You can have a solo flight program. You see, why invite us when you have to speak?
Please answer the question. I need to ask you the question.
Then please hold yourself. Now let me say, the position is that you always look for some character to throw muck on Pakistan.
Really?
Sometimes you pick up Ajmal Kasab, sometimes you see Abdul Karim Tunda, sometimes Dawood Ibrahim, sometimes Afzal Guru. I mean, you are all the time looking for Pakistan bashing. Now, please stop it, see. Enough is enough. If this is what have been taught to you by Chanakya, that if you have a disturbed condition within your country, show them some mythical element outside so that it will introduce a galvanizing and cementing politics. So you are constantly and scrupulously following the philosophy of Chanakya, and you know it that Pakistan is a very peaceful neighbor, and yet you keep throwing muck. For God's sake, stop it.
I repeat. By the way, sir, Ahmed Raza Kasuri ji, you seem to be obsessed with Chanakya. I have not had the opportunity of getting any instructions from Chanakya, but I don't think you need any instructions to ask a very basic question. Why did Hamid Gul say that we love Osama? We like Osama and we should rejoice for the fact that we protected him for 9 years. Why don't you answer that?
Are we here to discuss?
Why did he say that?
See, the position is that General Qureshi has already told you that once you retire from a uniform service, you have no linkage with it. I mean, he is very right that if we start throwing muck on your retired raw chief, that he is involved in Balochistan situation,
sir, can you name,
and you are sending, if you are talking about Tunda, you are sending a lot of langadas in Balochistan who are creating all kind of
sir, Tunda is today
situation, law and order situation.
Sir, today Tunda is a human dossier. The problem for Pakistan is
there's a Tunda and there's a Langa.
That's all right. I don't want to get into name calling.
You are sending Langas in Balochistan.
Sir, you can say what you want. You've got a problem in Balochistan. My sympathies are with you. The way you treat the Baluchis better, you will have a better situation. That's not the question.
To us. Last time I told you that please hand over Colonel Pro to us,
sir, the question is why...
who killed dozens of innocent Pakistanis travelers to India.
Sir, the question is that you have an ISI chief today who is proven to be a handler of Abdul Karim Tundla, and Tunda has admitted it. Why don't you send Hamid Gul to face interrogation in India? What's holding you back on that?
We have got many langadas, who can throw muck on you that you are involved in Balochistan in a big way.
Mr. Kasuri,
can I say something here?
Mr. Kasuri, your country has been exposed when a judicial commission appointed to look into the Abbottabad raid spoke of negligence, did not rule out Pakistan's complicity in allowing Osama bin Laden to stay in Pakistan for 9 years. Hamid Gul claimed that the very fact that Osama lived in Pakistan untraced for 9 years was a victory for your country. Now, either that man is demented or perverted to be saying something like that. I don't know why you don't have the courage, Mr. Kasuri, on television to be saying that you have to be absolutely, crazy to be saying that you're actually happy about protecting Osama for 9 years.
Why don't you have the courage to accept that Delhi Parliament attack and Mumbai attack was arranged by your own intelligence agency to tighten the security laws laws in the country.
Because the facts...
It was a ploy.
Mr. Jetwalani. No, the fact...
And you hanged an innocent person called...
One second, let's get
Mr.
Kasuri, you are a lawyer. Why don't you hear...
Can I add here?
Yes.
What was a complete lie that you've just said?
Which is
the anchor just said.
Yes, which is
that
what?
That the Judicial Commission on the Abbottabad case said that the government of Pakistan or certain agencies may have been complicit. That's an absolute lie.
So absolutely not. It did not rule out Pakistan's complicity. It is not a lie. It may be embarrassing for you. It did not rule out Pakistani complicity.
So therefore, you have already convicted Pakistan on something that was not even expressed as a doubt. And secondly, what Maroof was saying, whether he interviewed Hamid Gul and what Hamid Gul said to Maroof in an interview, one-on-one interview, I am not aware of. So frankly, it's Maroof's word against what I've heard. Now, if we are here to discuss Hamid Gul and what he said at what stage in his life, so frankly, Hamid Gul should have been called to address you here. It's very difficult.
The question is a well-known terrorist. No, the context is this. Why am I speaking of Hamid Gul? A well-known terrorist, and now I'd get Mahesh Jetmalani, let's take it forward. A well-known terrorist who's on India's list of most wanted, has spoken the truth which nails Pakistan about Dawood Ibrahim, about Hafiz Saeed, and about his handler Hamid Gul. Why are you afraid of accepting the facts? I know you may not have accepted. No. What is shocking Pakistan?
Nobody's
What is
afraid.
shocking Pakistan?
The point is,
what is shocking your country?
What you are saying is ridiculous.
Sir, what is
How can Hamid Gul,
Yeah.
the DG-ISI from 1987 to 1989, be handling whatever Tunda or Lunda you're calling him in 1995?
Because
you're saying something which is totally ridiculous.
Absolutely
Nobody's
not.
going to believe it.
Absolutely
These are
not.
lies.
Absolutely.
These are lies.
So you can say they are lies because Parvez Musharraf, who you worked under Parvez Musharraf. Parvez Musharraf said ex-ISI members.
Putting words into Parvez Musharraf's life?
I'm not. This is what he
What?
said. Why don't you check your facts? Hamid Gul responded to Parvez Musharraf when he said ex-ISI members are helping the Taliban.
Hamid Gul, look.
Why don't you accept it?
Hamid Gul responded to something that you allege that Parvez Musharraf has said. I am not aware of what you're saying.
Sir, you are
So if
completely
you're trying
aware.
to
You are
convey
trying to put up a
to the
straight
people
face.
in India,
You are completely aware. You are completely aware. In fact, I can even challenge you right now on television and ask you whether you are aware. But I'll go to Mahesh Jetpalani first. Benazir Bhutto herself claimed in 2007 that she helped India tackle Sikh militancy. She handed over a dossier. No. She handed over a dossier.
Why did you stick to one point?
Because there is one
wherever
point.
You're proved
there is only
what you're saying is lies.
Sir,
you shift to another point.
Sir,
what did Benazir say?
Sir,
in 2007,
yes.
She said in an email we've heard
yes.
that if I am killed, then so and so will be
No.
responsible.
Listen to me.
You know,
Listen,
if I
you're being impatient.
Today,
you're being impatient.
What?
You're being impatient. I'll get Mahesh Jetpalani.
You're being very patient.
So watch. You're moving. I get Mahesh Jetpalani. The only point you're saying, why are you jumping? I'm not jumping. The only question is, I am proving today, point by point, that you are being exposed on supporting terror. And by the way, Benazir Bhutto handed over a dossier of names containing the covert identities of Pakistan's agents who were masterminding the Sikh terrorism. And that is what helped Delhi track down these terrorists and completely destroy the Pakistani army-supported terrorist infrastructure. If you go back into the facts and you call your friends in Rawalpindi, they'll tell you this is absolutely right. Rashid Qureshi, you know it's right. I'm just saying it on television tonight.
Maybe
I'm just saying it on television tonight.
That Benazir was confiding in secret to you.
No, she wasn't.
While we've never heard this.
Well, she wasn't. I can quote what she said in 2007. I'll send you the quote after that. Mahesh Jetpalani, we are on a larger point to support terrorism. I will send it to you. I will. I do intend to send you the quote.
Discuss your
Mahesh Jetpalani.
Security.
Mahesh Jetpalani is responding to you, Mr. Kasuri.
Disclosure that
Arnav, while our Pakistani guests
was organized by your intelligence agencies
are going to take the standard line of being in denial.
And by that,
we've seen this on every show, and we have a long history now about. Sorry, I can't talk if somebody's going on from the other side.
Go on, Mr. Jetpalani.
It's time I said something. Yeah. Look, there's been a long history of denial now. Every time you get a Pakistani guest, in the face of overwhelming evidence, they keep saying that, we put up puppets and we get contrived evidence and so on and so forth. We've given them dossiers on Dawood Ibrahim. We've given them dossiers on Hafiz Syed. No action has been taken. Now, we don't need any other evidence. Their own Pakistani commission has damned them on the question of the presence of Osama bin Laden, almost suggesting that there has been official connivance in his concealment in Abbottabad. Not only that, he moved in other cities in Pakistan before that, and this was the world's most wanted terrorist. As far as Dawood Ibrahim is
hundreds of
concerned,
wells in Balochistan, in every village, to provide them fresh water. He's a philanthropist and an educationist.
Unlike your baseless propaganda, Mr. Kasuri, we are giving you hard human evidence. You are just talking off the top of your head. We give you evidence and we give you dossiers. It's about time you behave like a lawyer and start talking on the basis of evidence.
You are talking about Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden's biggest enemy was the United States. The US itself has said that there is no complicity of the Pakistan Army or the ISI or any official organization in the hiding of Osama bin Laden. If the US, which is the biggest enemy of Osama bin Laden, has said this, I don't know how you continue to say that the Judicial Commission has finally branded Pakistan Army and the ISI. This just goes to show.
Sir, it has not ruled out
that
Pakistan's
India,
complicity.
or you in this case,
It has not ruled out Pakistan's complicity.
Convict Pakistan
It has not.
of something that Pakistan is not guilty of.
Sir, it has not ruled out Pakistan's complicity, and Hamid Gul said it is our tradition that we protect fugitives. He described Osama bin Laden as a fugitive. So I think Mahesh Jethmalani is absolutely right on this one, sir. And all we are proving to you
that
Not only that-
a Havaldar in uniform is much more powerful than retired general.
You see,
well, you know, Mr.
what Hamid Gul said or he didn't say, I am not aware. And
You see
secondly,
what is happening is-
if a retired person has said something, if he has said this, then how is it that you're taking it as an official stance of the government?
because it is a because no, this is not another retired person. Please get your facts right, Mr. General Qureshi. It is not another retired army officer. It is a retired army officer whose leadership of terrorists is no secret. Who is sitting there sharing platforms with Hafiz Saeed.
Officer who retired from the army 21 years ago.
Yes, the same
And
goal.
you're
The same goal.
blaming him for policies of the Pakistan Army and the ISI.
Sir, yes, because you will
Someone who
remember.
retired 21 years ago.
Yes, because you will remember. You will remember that in December 2008, and now you can answer my question directly, Rashid Qureshi. Is it true or not, Rashid Qureshi, that in
Now you
December
jump to another
2008,
point.
December
So when you are-
2008,
when one point is disproved,
No,
you
nothing
jump
is disproved.
to
I'm in
another
fact
point
going to prove it
which
again.
has no bearing on this.
I'm going to prove it again. Is it true that in December 2008, the Pakistan-based
Oh my God.
news
How are you
leaked?
going to prove this?
Because you allow me to complete, I'll prove it, and then I'll go back
I've
to
been
Maruf.
waiting for 3 years,
Sir,
talking to you on television.
Sir, I have given
and
you-
you haven't proved anything.
Yes, because if you don't want to listen and you don't want to accept any facts, if you've closed your minds, you will suffer the same consequences of terrorism that is flowering within your country and which you're allowing to carry on flower without any checks. The fact of the matter is this, General Qureshi,
What you are
second.
trying to do,
One second.
what you are trying to do as an anchor of a TV show,
Yes.
is to externalize India's problems and blame everything that is part of your internal problems on Pakistan or Bangladesh or Nepal.
Sir, please
or
don't be
Sri
touchy
Lanka
about
or
1971.
some neighbor.
Sir, you are
need
very
some
touchy about
neighbor,
1971.
And
Please.
this time it's Pakistan.
Sir, I can
again.
understand 1971 was a nightmare in your recent history, but you need to get over it. The question is simply this, General Qureshi, that in December 2008, details of a US charge sheet sent to the Pakistani government were leaked, and among other accusations,
make me
it had
laugh.
alleged
Honestly,
that Gul,
if that
that
the
Gul,
point of all these TV shows,
that Gul,
is to what?
So why that Gul maintained extensive contacts over the years with the Al-Qaeda and had in 2005 provided overarching guidance to the Taliban on operational activities in Afghanistan.
if you want
I'm
to
reading
question
from the
Hamid
US
Gul,
charge sheet.
If
Who
you
will
want
you believe?
to question Hamid Gul on what he said or did,
Sir, but why-
I would suggest that
why
you
have you
call
closed
him on
your
your
minds?
TV show.
Why have you closed your minds on these individuals? They will eat into your today your Prime
Hamid Gul
Minister.
is a private person. He has got
No, sir.
nothing to do
Sir,
with
today
the
your Prime
formation of the
Minister-
government policy.
No, Mr.
You try to
Kasuri.
understand.
No, Mr. Kasuri.
He's
Today
a
your
human
Prime Minister has gone on television
by every
talking about
stretch of
terrorism.
imagination.
Today your Prime Minister at 9 o'clock went on television talking about how terrorism is eating into the very nature of your country and how people are suffering because of it. How can you be so careless
I
about
think
people who
they've
are
decided
supporters
to
of
talk
terrorism?
amongst each other. They're in the Indian studio.
Well, are you listening? Your Prime Minister went on record today, General Qureshi. I don't think you heard him. He was very concerned about the situation in your own country. Well, I think either we've lost the line or my Pakistani guests are not listening. But Mahesh Jethmalani, let me throw the ball back at you. In this given situation today, we have growing evidence against Hamid Gul. We'll get our Pakistani guests back. If Nawaz Sharif still does not hand over or take any steps on Hamid Gul, should the Prime Minister still meet Nawaz Sharif in New York?
And
Well, that was already decided. I mean, on a previous show, we already said that given the beheading and the last assault on 5 Jawans on the LOC, that there was absolutely no justification for the summit meeting between the two prime ministers going ahead at all. I mean, this has only exacerbated the situation. Arnav, you know, our Pakistani guests are going to be in constant denial, but now there's growing evidence. Hamid Gul is only the latest example that there's a seamless connection between state actors and non-state actors in the Pakistani government so far as the matter of exporting terrorism is concerned and giving safe haven and training facilities to terrorists in Pakistan is concerned. It is now almost clear. One doesn't have the facts are too obvious. Whether the Americans openly say it or are a little circumspect about it, it makes no difference. The fact is, even Shahryar Khan the other day said that Dawood Ibrahim was until recently in Pakistan.
Please hand over Colonel Pro to us. We would like to prosecute him, investigate,
has as a reward of $10 million on his head, and the Pakistanis do nothing about him. They first even denied that Ajmal Kasab was a Pakistani national. That's the kind of total denial. There is no introspection. There is no remorse on the part of anybody in Pakistan, officially or in civil society. It's time now that the Indian government stops talking to them. All this peacenik talk about we have to talk to our neighbors, it is really achieving no purpose. It is now time to take Pakistan's case to the international forums, corroborate the evidence given by people like Kasab and by Tunda that they are a safe haven for terrorists, and ex-ISI officers are being recruited by the present ISI and the army to handle them, take it to international forums and have Pakistan declared a terrorist state. That should be the action we expect.
Democracy is a Brahmin democracy.
Sir, this obsession with Chanakya and Brahmins...
Shudra has got different and Kachatri has different.
Sir, I think you are not in touch. So I think you are not in touch with the reality in India. It's not going to be appropriate, Mr. Kasuri, to make sweeping statements.
It is clear that Mr. Kasuri's knowledge of the caste system in India is better than his law.
Well, I don't want to... Mr. Kasuri likes to keep mentioning the caste system in India. I mean, I don't know if Mr. Kasuri's understanding is stuck at the 17th century. I don't want to get into that. My question is simply to Maruf that today we have a choice.
See, we have talk of your secularism.
Mr. Kasuri, we are talking about a certain Mr. Tunda. I'll tell you who I'm interested in talking about, Mr. Kasuri. Mr. Kasuri, we are...
His finance minister was Raja Todermal. Can you have in 2013
Mr. Kasuri, let's be...
as your defense
Mr. Kasuri, one second, please, one second. Mr. Kasuri, 1 second. Mr. Kasuri, if you cannot have any answers to the very specific 6 or 7 questions I've given you here today, there is no point in trying to go into medieval history to answer.
I think you are spoilers of the good relations.
Well, I think, Mr. Kasuri, if you just lock up Hamid Gul and Hafiz Saeed, hand them over to us, and if you have the courage to deal with Dawood Ibrahim, and you don't force us, because the growing feeling is this. No, because the growing feeling, you see what has happened. Mr. Kasuri,
investigate him.
Mr. Kasuri, 1 minute.
Find out the designs of India.
Mr. Kasuri, what happens is, Mr. Kasuri, that India today has a lot of clout in the global community. So we will get everyone, whether it is Dawood or Hafiz Saeed eventually. The question is whether you do it voluntarily or involuntarily. And the way in which Tunda has come through channels allegedly from the Middle East are a direct consequence of India's growing clout in the UAE as well. So there is a growing view that eventually we'll get all these people, but it would be better if Pakistan cooperates in the process. Maruf, what's your response to our guest from Islamabad?
You have also leveled allegations.
Well, I just want to respond to a couple of points both the guests have raised. Mr. Kasuri, sir, please hear me out, sir. I've been patiently listening to you. Please hear me out. My points are as follows. General Qureshi says that retired officers do not have links. Even Mr. Kasuri says retired officers don't have links. General Qureshi would know only too well. General Musharraf is also a retired officer. And our understanding and international understanding is that Musharraf today is getting whatever preferential treatment he is getting, despite there are various efforts to pin him down for acts of treason because he enjoys a certain degree of support from Rawalpindi. That apart, is General Qureshi going to tell us that he doesn't have any links with any military officers since he is retired and he's leading a life of a completely, being in intellectual and academic circles, completely devoid of any military contact? This is absolutely unacceptable. Now, Mr. Kasuri keeps harping on the point about Baluchistan. Sir, let me put a few facts in front of you. The biographer of General Musharraf has a full chapter on Baluchistan. Are you going to deny that Baluchis have not been given employment in the Gwadar port, which was set up in Baluchistan, and Punjabi labor was bought and they were marginalized? Are you going to deny that Baluchi gas is largely consumed by Punjab and Baluch gets no access to it and no benefit from it? Your own civil servant, Mr. Akbar Ahmed, in his book, The Thistle and the Don, has made a full chapter on Baluchistan, and in which there is not a single word of reference of India's role in Baluchistan. Why and what happened to Baluchistan in the last 60 years? Even, sir, please hear me out. What happened to Baluchistan in the last 60 years? Even if India was involved in the last 10 years, how is it that you have a mess in your hand 50 years prior to India's involvement? Do you have answers to that? You people continue to make articles of faith of non-issues and then continue to keep harping on that this is wrong with India, that is wrong with India. Why don't you look into the mirror? Why don't you smell the coffee? Why don't you get real? Your Chinese have abandoned you and they are fed up with your tryst with terrorism. The Saudis don't want to have link with you and your terror nexus. The Americans are just waiting to dump you in 2014. Where are you going to go, sir? Who's going to hold your hand? Just Manmohan Singh and his government?
I understand your psyche.
Sir, you brought up this point before. You have to come and live in India to understand how secularism works. Unfortunately, you have no idea of the Indian ethos. You people call yourself Muslims and you kill Shias every other day on the streets of Pakistan. 20% of your population is Shias and you have no patience with them. So don't lecture us on secularism.
Socio-economic security.
So I think
Maruf has spoken non-stop for the last 5-10 minutes.
No, about
and I have not understood a word of what he said.
Sir, you are not
Frankly,
willing to look at
if
it.
the effort was to convince us
Well, I can repeat it for you, sir.
your audience of your righteousness, I think you need to cool down and talk point by point of what allegations you're trying to make.
In that
and
case,
also listen to the answers that we give you.
No,
if you understand them, appreciate it.
Yes.
If you do not understand them,
fair enough.
I think you need to go back and look up the dictionary to find out what we are saying.
Sir, General Qureshi, General Qureshi, I gave you three. I gave you Maruf 1 minute. Maruf 1 minute. Maruf 1 minute. General Qureshi,
Pakistan Army officer,
General Qureshi,
retired or serving,
General Qureshi,
whose name people in India might know.
General Qureshi,
for every terrorist activity that is within India,
General Qureshi,
which takes germination within the state of India and blaming it on Pakistan and more than that, trying to say
General
that
Qureshi, 1 minute. General Qureshi, listen.
Maruf,
1 minute.
General Qureshi, sir.
1 minute. General Qureshi.
While Indian Raw
General
and
Qureshi.
Indian Army,
So you,
which
General Qureshi.
Sir, I'll tell you. What's Maruf 1 minute.
General Qureshi, sir. If you are arguing, General Qureshi, sir.
I can also go on talking for the next 15 minutes. I can perhaps shout louder than you. But it's pointless.
General Qureshi, I'll tell you one thing. No, General Qureshi, you neither have to know. Will you listen? Okay. So should I time you 1 second? No, 1 second. 1 second. Maruf, 1 minute. 1 minute, Maruf. 1 minute. Can I have a moment of silence?
Will you let me give
one second. Because General Qureshi has tried to compete in the length of his answer, which I think, General Qureshi, may I actually compliment you and say that you did try to compete very well as far as the length of the answer is concerned. But in terms of the focus of the answer,
I think your elections are
in terms of the focus of the answer, one sec. General Qureshi, tell me, General Qureshi, let General Qureshi answer for himself, sir. General Qureshi can answer for himself. General Qureshi, why do I have a feeling that in terms of the focus and directness of the answer, something seems to be missing from what you say? Because I asked you 6 times one question, and 6 times or 7 times you avoided that. And that question now I'll ask you a 7th time. And if you want to avoid it a 7th time, you can avoid it. And that question is this. if your officers retire very quietly, like Hamid Gul retired and then he led a normal civilian life, tell me, why did Hamid Gul respond to Musharraf's statement about helping the Taliban in 2006? Simple. The moment you answer this, I'll rest my case. Answer this. Answer this.
I have no idea.
Oh, yes, you have an idea.
Of Musharraf or Hamid Gul getting into a conversation.
Sir, how can you be so unaware?
Frankly,
October 2006, I'll send you the details.
Now that you've listened to this answer, now you should produce.
But that's no answer. That's no answer.
Pervez Musharraf had said
yes.
these words about Hamid Gul.
Yes, of course. Pervez Musharraf said in October 2006 that ex-ISI members may be helping the Taliban.
2008, you can say something, you can give a date.
You know something.
Which is 5 years old.
Sir, you know.
And which nobody would be remembering.
Sir, you know. Sir.
I mean,
Sir,
October 2008, October 2008, Pervez Musharraf
I'm giving a last response to Mahesh Jetpalani. Last response from the Indian side to Mahesh Jetpalani.
You know, Arnav, we've had many discussions with our Pakistani guests on the export of terrorism and our disappointment with their response over there. But we seem to be getting nowhere. I mean, this is just a last thought for our Pakistani guests. It's more of an appeal than anything else. And this is really to tell them that as voices grow dimmer and dimmer regarding terrorism in Pakistan, including from civil society, not just from officialdom, there's a growing constituency in this country that is increasingly getting turned off Pakistan and doesn't want to extend. 1 minute, Mr.
We should avoid this kind of a discussion.
Mr. Kasuri, let me just finish.
Involve in a more sober,
Mr. Kasuri,
productive and healthy discussion so that we can create
yes, Mr.
an
Kasuri,
environment of friendship,
just wait.
amity and affection.
Mr. Kasuri, I don't know if you're used to interrupting like this all the time, but just let me say this. All I'm saying is, as you grow increasingly impervious to our pleas to react for terrorism, you must just realize that in India there's an increasing constituency that no longer wants to extend a hand of friendship with you. That's all I can say. We give you growing evidence. We give you human evidence supported by dossiers. And I will urge our government to corroborate the oral evidence of all these terrorists, Pakistani-sponsored, the latest one being Tunda, to corroborate them with other facts.
Well, we have a human dossier. It depends on how the government wants to use it. As someone said today, if the government has a human dossier, it doesn't want to use it, doesn't want to confront Pakistan and still clink champagne glasses in New York, it's going to come down to nothing. So the choice very much is with the government of India as well. Thank you very much to our guests in Islamabad, Mumbai and Delhi tonight for joining me on that debate. Thank you.